everybody, and welcome to the On One Fair, the first Italian wines virtual exhibition. On One Fair is the international digital event where Italian winemakers share the unique features of their wines with importers, distributors, and retailers in 122 countries in the world. The guest of this webinar is Giulia Prestia of Venturini Baldini, located in Emilia-Romagna. In the next 15 minutes, you will learn much about the winery and its incredible wines. During the webinar, you can write your questions in the live chat, and you can download some documents that Venturini Baldini wanted to share with you. And I remind you that if you'd like to know more about the winery proposal and talk directly to Giulia, you can book a one-to-one video call just by using the link you find in the webinar instructions and on the On One Fair official page. You can choose the date and the time you prefer. Now, let's start with a brief video of Venturini Baldini, and have a good webinar.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Giulia Prestia. It's a pleasure to introduce our winery to you today. Thank you so much for listening in. I'll tell you a little bit about the story of the winery, and then I will present our wines to you. It would be a pleasure to follow up with you personally afterwards, and you also have our brochure available for download. But if you need anything else after the webinar, just please don't hesitate to call us or send us an email. We're always happy to speak to you directly. Venturini Baldini is one of the historic wineries in Emilia-Romagna, in Emilia precisely. We are between Reggio Emilia and Parma, and as you've seen in our video, which honestly, every time I see our video, I do get emotional. I think it's really a beautiful video to show our winery, which is quite unique. It is a winery that is, as you see, in the hills between, as I said, between Parma and Reggio Emilia. So it's really the foothills of the Apennine, which is a very unique area that not many people expect when they come to Emilia, which is mainly known for its flat land. It's we have about 130 hectares, which in acres I think is about 380 acres of a total winery, of which 30 hectares are vineyards, so about 80 acres of vineyards. We have predominantly autochthonous grapes, so that those are Lambrusco grapes and Malvasia Candia aromatica, and then we have about 20% of our grapes are Chardonnay and Pinot Nero, which have been planted about 25 years ago. The winery is an organic winery, which is something that for me personally, but also from a personal lifestyle point of view, is very important. It's been certified organic already in the 80s, when back then in Italy, not a lot of wineries, or generally in food production, not a lot of wineries were organic. And when I tell you a bit more about the history, you'll see what we continue today, I think, is really thanks to Venturini Baldini, who have had a beautiful vision from the very beginning. They've been very modern, very visionary, actually, for perhaps is the right word. And we are able to continue this story, which for us is very important, and it's really a beautiful base to build on. So I tell you a little bit more about the history, and then we go into the wines. The estate, as I said, is one of the historic estates in our region. For many, it goes back to the 16th, 17th century, and it was for many years private residence, lately for the Marchesi Manodori, who were the governors of Reggio Emilia. And then in 76, Venturini Baldini, husband and wife, founded the winery as an agricultural estate and started to produce wine. And they had they continued this until 2015, when my husband and I took over the winery, and we came on board with Carlo Ferrini, who is a friend and obviously winemaker predominantly, but also become a friend in the winery that we also run in Sicily. And with Carlo Ferrini, we have really relaunched the wines that, some of them have been continued from Venturini Baldini, some of them have been new wines, and it's been a very exciting, very busy project. We've been working really hard, but I have to say, after sort of the first 5 years, I think we're a really good point, and we're very happy with our portfolio of wines and the things that we have put in motion also for the next 5 to 10 years. In terms of business, we have the wines, of course, and then we also have balsamic vinegar. We have one of the oldest Acetaia, and Acetaia is a balsamic vinegar cellar, which is actually under the roof, so it's not a cellar at all, and it's a very unique place. It's almost like a museum now, going back to the 17th century in a house that has not. It's the original house with everything, all the original features from the 17th century. So miraculously, it has never been ruined by any earthquake or anything. So it's a very unique place. We have about 400 old wooden barrels. So we produce a traditional balsamic vinegar, and then also a line of balsamic condiments and aceto balsamico di Modena, EGP. And our third leg, in a way, is our wine resort, which we've opened this year. So it's been obviously a very unique year with COVID, but the wine resort is for me, I say it as the third, but it's actually a really important piece in our puzzle, because it closes the circle, and it really gives us the opportunity to communicate an experience and to provide an experience to our friends, our clients, our followers, and it started this year, and it's been a great success already. It's small, it's a boutique wine resort, but we have about 11 rooms. We're building another 6 rooms in the next 2 years, and we're opening a restaurant in April. But it is very important, and because it really, like I said, it really closes the circle, and it gives people the opportunity to experience this Emilian experience, which is not just one product, which is really, it's the wines, it's the balsamic vinegar, but it's really living that experience in Emilia, in the heart of the food valley where we are. Our mission, just to sum it up before we go into the wines, has really been to show what I call the breadth and diversity of wines from Emilia. And we have, obviously our core business is sparkling wines, but we have also started to produce a niche project, but still wines. And it's really important when we go into the wines to see that, Lambrusco is our core business, there's no doubt, and it's very important for us, and it's the connection to our terroir, it's the connection with our tradition and our story, but it's equally important to us to show what variety and the quality of wines that come from Emilia, which perhaps has been a little bit underestimated, partly because of the story of Lambrusco, which I'm sure you're familiar with in the 70s and 80s. But even still today, Lambrusco does have a reputation of being cheap and just sweet wine. And in reality, it's quite contrary. What you see now, what we produced and what a lot of other smaller wineries produce is really a new generation of Lambrusco. And when I say new generation of Lambrusco, it also relates to the fact that we have a manual harvest. We produce only with our own grapes. We are much more like a Tuscan or Piedmont type winery. We're not a big not a big machine. We're a small family winery. We have about 150,000 bottles. So that's the size that you're looking at. And we produce wines that are serious wines. But obviously, Lambrusco is a very social wine. It's a very accessible wine, and I think it's actually quite the mood of the moment. And it's very rewarding to see that there is a new category that is being discovered. There is a new generation of Lambrusco being discovered, and the work that we have put in place in the last years is really people are really finding and discovering this new category, which is very exciting. So I'm going to share the screen and show you our brochure, where you have 2 pages where we see a little bit more about the wines. You have this brochure also available, as I said, to download if you want, or I can send it to you later on. We have 4 brackets of wines, so to say, and in terms of, maybe you're interested, but we export about 50% of our business, and export is growing. It's both. We're, even in a difficult year like this, we're growing, which is very rewarding. But it's export is obviously growing perhaps even more than Italy. So it's, for us, this is very important. Export, we don't have all of the wines normally. There's a selection of wines that people choose. But I'll run you through all of them, because I think it's important to understand what we are producing, to give you a good feeling of our background. What you see on the left of the page is what we call our classics. Our classics are really classic traditional wines from Emilia, which in our view are the best expression of the traditional Emilian winemaking. You see in the middle our Montolocco, and I start with the Montolocco because it's a little bit what I shouldn't say that, but it's a bit like the entry level. Entry level also because it bridges to what people often expect from Lambrusco, a little bit sweeter. This is all of our wines are dry. So maybe I should say that before, all of our wines are dry. They all have a very fine pelage, so they're all very elegant wines. The Montolocco is the only one that is slightly semi-sec. So you have the Montolocco Rosso, which is made of 100% Salamino, which has about 16 grams sugar. It's a wine that we've been making for many, many years. It's commercially a very successful wine, but it is also it's probably one of my favorite wines, to be honest. I think it's a very authentic expression of a Lambrusco. It is it's a happy wine, to be honest. It's a happy wine. It goes really well with aperitivo, but also for a meal, barbecue. It's a very versatile wine. The Montolocco Rosso, as I said, is a frizzante made of 100% Salamino, so a short chamat method. And the Montolocco Rosé, which you see on his right, is a new entry, and we've created the wine also with the idea of offering sort of a range of wines of the Montolocco wines. Building on the success of the Montolocco Rosso, we have created the Montolocco Rosé, which is also a way of showing the many different expressions of Lambrusco, which is not just a bubbly red. It is also rosé. It has all. There's so many different expressions of Lambrusco. And the rosé is made of Sobara and Grasparossa. Sobara has a beautiful acidity. The Grasparossa sort of mellows it out a little bit, and it's very fresh, very crisp, very nice. Again, a little bit semi-sec, so we're at 13 grams sugar. Very accessible, very happy wines. To the right, you see the Malvasia, which is a Malvasia Candia aromatica Granier. This one comes both as the Granier, but also as a Montelocco Bianco, because we have a few clients who like to have three, sort of the three siblings together for the Montelocco. This is also an autochthonous grape from our area, a very aromatic, still dry, but very aromatic, sparkling white, perfect for after dinner or now with the holiday season coming up. You know, we have a panettone in Italy. I know that a lot of the countries have something similar. This is a really pleasant wine to go with a with a dessert or a sweet dish, or even as an aperitivo. On the left, you see the Marchese Manodori. Marchese Manodori is, for us, a very important one. It's a new wine that we've created when we started in 2015, but it is a very traditional Lambrusco from our region. So it's a very authentic Lambrusco Reggiano, what I call. That's just the denomination as well. And it's made of 4 types of Lambrusco grapes, Maestri Marani, Grasparossa, and Salamino. And it was our first Tre Bicchieri. It has, also for that reason, it's maybe close to our heart, but it's what people in our area really recognize as the Lambrusco of for the Sunday roast, for the Sunday meal. It's, you know, it's less an aperitivo. It's more for the whole meal. It's like I said, a very classic interpretation of a Lambrusco. Very nicely balanced. On the right of the page, you see our signature wines. Our signature wines are really our masterpieces in a way. And the idea, the spirit was here always to be have an innovative spirit, an innovative approach to create what we think are unique examples of what Emilia has to offer. The one to the left is probably one of our most important wines. Is the Cadalvento. Cadalvento is a sparkling rosé, but it's also a Lambrusco DOC. So it's a very classic Lambrusco, but it's very innovative as well because it's not at all classic. So it's a Sorbara blended with the Grasparossa. Normally, Sorbara comes as a single variety, and we have decided to blend it with the Grasparossa to take away a little bit of the acidity, which you know, it's a beautiful acidity of the Sorbara, but to blend it out a little bit with the Grasparossa, which is much more mellow, much more rounded, and to create a sparkling rosé. It's a Lambrusco with a really fresh, crisp, basically coming from the Sorbara. But it's also a rosé, and this is important because, you know, when I go back to, you hear me saying that a lot, the new generation of Lambrusco. This is the new generation of Lambrusco because this is a completely traditional a DOC from a denomination perspective. So this is a Lambrusco DOC, but it is also a Lambrusco that really speaks to a new generation. That you know, people sometimes discover Lambrusco through this wine, and they change their prejudices and discover that there is a whole new category out there that they don't know, or they have even sort of discarded a little bit. It's a very elegant wine, goes really well as both as an aperitif, but also with the meal, fish dishes, but even meat, as it you know, as it opens up a little bit during a meal. I do find that the Lambrusco is just, it's perfect just to, you know, to balance out meat and fattier meats especially. So it's a very versatile wine. In the middle, you see the Cadervetto Blanc de Blanc, which is obviously, as you expect, 100% Chardonnay, which came out this year. And this is not an obviously it's Chardonnay, so it's international grape, but it is for us important to show you know, the competence of making sparkling wines here in Emilia. This is really what we know very well, and I think our Blanc de Blanc shows a Blanc de Blanc from Emilia that is, you know, I invite you to try it, but I'm very, very pleased with the result, and I think it shows the you know, the capacity and the competence of producing sparkling wines in our area. And on the right, you see the Rubino del Cerro. Rubino del Cerro is one of our longest traditional labels. We've been making this wine for more than 30 years. It was really the first spumante, Lambrusco spumante, created back when Venturini and Baldini started. It is basically the way they've created it. It has a little bit, you know, we've tweaked it a little bit, but it is the Rubino del Cerro that made Venturini Baldini famous. It is Montericco, Grappa Rossa, and Salamino. So you'll see a lot of the Grappa Rossa, Salamino coming back. But here we have a blend with Montericco, which is a very interesting Lambrusco grape that you'll hear later on as well. And the Rubino del Cerro is, you know, it gets just got 5 grappoli from Bibenda. It has a lot of other ratings that are very, very important to us. So it's really one of the signature wines of our winery. And then I go to the second page just to quickly, what you saw before were all Metodo Chamat. Metodo Chamat is, or Matinotte, is the way of making sparkling wines in the steel tank, in the autoclave. This is traditionally how a lot of Lambrusco has been made. Now there is a tendency to go either to Metodo Classico, so the champagne method, or also to Metodo Ancestrale, which is the fermentation in the bottle. We do both as well, but we do like Metodo Chamat, which we actually deem very, very adequate and useful for Lambrusco. We tend to have longer Chamat than the average. So our short ones are about 2 to 3 months. Our long ones go to 6 months. So the Rubino del Cerro is 6 months. The Cadervetto is 3 to 4 months. So you know that you're getting quite close to what appears almost like a Metodo Classico. The linear of 30 months, which is our Metodo Classico or champagne method, is something that we have been making since '94 with the grapes planted by Venturini Baldini, Pinot Nero and Chardonnay on the very high top end of our hills at about 450 meters. And here you have basically champagne from Emilia, I would say, but you have on the left our Brut, which is again 30 months in the bottle, and it's Pinot Nero and Chardonnay. And on the right you have our Rosé, which is a Pinot Nero. Again, beautiful wines, and again continuing our tradition of sparkling winemaking. On the right is a very important, a pet project, but a very important pet project of ours, which is not anymore just a pet project. It's our Terras. Terras is the range of wines, now 3 wines. The last 2 ones are coming out now at the end of this year, which are really, a little bit the desire to experiment and really to push boundaries and to show, again, what I've said before, to show really what Emilia can offer, what the Emilian grape varieties can offer. And those are all wines that are using grape varieties that have been a little bit forgotten, neglected, underused, or grape varieties that in our view didn't have the personality and the importance also attributed. And the first one that you see on the left is our Terras Rosso Terras Rosso is 100% Malvo Gentile. Malvo Gentile is a grape that not many people are familiar with, but maybe you have come across it. It's a Lambrusco grape that is used normally to blend Lambrusco when there is a weak harvest, when you need extra tannin to beef up the Lambrusco a little bit. But it never really had its own story. It never really had its own personality. And we've with Carlo Ferini, and that's where he really comes in as a Tuscan winemaker. We've given it its own place. Really, we've created what we think is a very important still red wine from Emilia, and I invite you to try it. It's in terms of how we produce it, we leave it 18 months in French tonneau and then 1 year in a bottle. The current vintage is 2017 that is available on the market. The Terras Bianco, which is in the middle, is coming out at the end of this year, as is the Terras Orange, which is on your right. And the Terras Bianco is a still white wine, which sort of follows the idea of the Terras Rosso. It's made in Tigny from France again, and is made of Spergola. Spergola is a grape that normally is again used for sparkling wines, and we have had the idea and the desire to give it its own importance with a still wine from our region. And then the one on the right is our Terras Orange, which some of you maybe know. It's our Metodo Ancestrale, so it's in the bottle fermentation, 18 months in the bottle fermented, and it's made out of Monterico. Monterico is the grape that we also use in the Rubino Leggero, which is a Lambrusco grape. It's a little bit of a difficult grape, but it's very interesting, has a really beautiful mineral aroma and connotation, and it's a wine that we have created under the label Reis previously, and the new one that is coming out sort of fits nicely into the Terras range, so that's why we've changed the name. And again, this one is coming out at the end of the year, and it's interesting and important both in terms of how we make it, because it's a bottle fermented, but also because the Monterico is really the sort of the core of an authentic Emilian grape that again has been a little bit what I call ancestrale. It's been a bit forgotten and neglected. So now I know that I've exceeded my time limit, but I hope I did manage to give you a nice overview of our company, of our winery, on our wines. And I do invite you to please don't hesitate to contact me if you want to know anything further. I'm always available for either video call or just a normal call if you don't want to be seen. But it would be a pleasure to follow up with you. And we have, as I said, we export in several countries, but of course we are growing. We're a young winery in that sense, even though we have a lot of history. And I would be very happy to talk to you about potentially cooperating. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, Giulia. And thank you all for watching. And don't forget to book your video call one-to-one with Giulia. So I hope to see you again on the next webinars on Wine Fair. Thank you again, Giulia, to VENTURINI Baldini. And see you soon. As we always say, viva il vino italiano. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Vazon Group, the bridge between research and enology. We develop integrated, synergistic solutions to create new technologies, while always focusing on total wine quality improvement. Beginning with the concept of mild technology, our process philosophy for only creating subtle changes without altering the wine's original and natural characteristics. Throughout the years, we constantly expand and grow our portfolio of enological equipment and products, forever paying special attention to environmental sustainability and wine quality. In conjunction with the use of continually enhanced enological coadjuvants, we rely upon the creation and application of physical separation technique equipment, which we developed under the brand and company Douglas. 1988 Flotation. 1997 Tartaric stabilization by membrane. 2017 Bipolar membranes. A recent upgrade to the electrodialysis unit is the addition of brand new bipolar membranes for acidification and deacidification of musts and wines. Cationic or anionic membranes that enable the precise removal of ions in wine, directly impacting pH and preserving the wine's original organoleptic characteristics. Assisting winemakers around the world to create expressive wines with minimal but essential intervention, we indefinitely pursue the concept of precision enology.